Today we're going to be replacing the motor, switch, and chuck on a Ridgid 1/2-inch drill. We're going to start by taking out all of the screws on the gearbox here, the cover, and the back. And once you get all the screws out, be sure you remove these two screws back here. And we're going to pull this cover off and take a look at the insides. Okay, we've got the cover off. I'm going to take a look and see how these wires are all stuffed in here to make reassembly easier. I have the new motor and the new switch with the LED light that comes with it. On this motor and the old one, these notches on here are important to pay attention to, and which side the wires are coming out so we can put this motor back into the same direction. I'm going to go ahead and pull this gearbox and motor assembly out with all of this all in one piece, and separate the gearbox and the motor and start the install. Okay, I've separated the motor from the gearbox, and I unplugged the LED light that's already on the front of this tool. Now I took the motor and the old switch out and flipped it over so I can see red and black here. On the new switch with the red and black, and we'll put the motor the same way, and we're going to solder these connections, and we'll start to put this back together, and we'll worry about the chuck and the LED light right after we get this solder complete. Okay, we're going to go ahead and remove this chuck so we can replace it. If you open the chuck all the way up, inside there is a Phillips screw. That screw is reverse thread, so you'll want to turn it to the right in order to remove that screw. Once you do, what I use is a large Allen. Put it in here, close the chuck, secure this base tightly, and unscrew the chuck in a normal direction, and this thing will unscrew right off this gearbox. Okay, once you get the chuck off, this LED plate here secured by two small Phillips screws, we're going to unscrew those and remove this, and you can unplug the wire right from the back here, and we're going to replace it with the new LED. Now if you need to replace the wire, that's going to take a bit more work. You'll have to remove this, all the gears, and work your way all the way to the front of this. Not recommended if you don't need to replace it. I wouldn't mess with it. Okay, now we've got the new LED and the screws put back in. The wire is plugged into the back of this. We've got our soldering complete. Now it's time to put this and this back together, back into the shell, and run all the wiring. Now when you're installing the new motor, after you push this on, this notch, and on the edge here it's flat, your wires are at the bottom. You want to make sure that this bearing is seated all the way down in there. And then this part with the notch, there's one on the top and the bottom. You want to make sure when this is seated properly, this thing will not move like this. You need to make sure it's set all the way down in there, and then it locks in like that. Then just run your wires as they were before. Plug in your LED light, so the wires should be run right here. And this plugs in here. Put your wires all together. We'll put this together and install the new chuck. Alright, now that we've got it all screwed back together, we're going to go ahead and install the chuck, which you just screw this on in a normal direction, and when that's all the way screwed down, I like to use that large Allen and give it a good heft, make sure it's tight. Take the screw in the center, drop that in there, and again that's reverse thread, So you'll turn it to the left, get that good and tight, and then we'll test it, make sure everything works, and you're done. Alright, chuck is installed, screw is tight, battery's in it. Good to go. Thanks for watching.